So today we'll discuss about table completion, flowchart, summary completion. Before starting, as we have learned in previous classes, that the trick to solve all such questions is first read the instruction. What does the instruction says to you? Read the question carefully, highlight the keywords, try and guess the answer, scan the keywords in the text, finally write your correct answer. Many a times when people look at big paragraphs, like the paragraph that is mentioned here is pretty small one, but when you look at a big paragraph and you will get many paragraphs of such kind in the exam when you have to solve the paper in 1 hour, people get panicked. And if you have practice, if you have things on your fingers, it is easier for you to solve, because it's one thing to not know anything and it's one thing to know everything and in panic doing everything wrong. So that hurts more, and therefore this trick should always be remembered, and it applies for all the questions. Few questions the few things will be changed, but in general you have to follow this key. If you read the question but you forgot to read the instruction, you read the question and keywords but you forgot to guess, or you scan, obviously you'll do, but if you have proper nouns for yourselves, then it would be easier. So in table completion, basically you will be provided with an incomplete table which summarizes or paraphrase information given in the reading test. So it consists of a table, it is an incomplete table, and the information that needs to be filled down here would be either summarized in the paragraph or paraphrased in the paragraph. Information in the table form may be organized differently from the way in which it appears in the text. For example, chronologically, instead of an order of importance, the task is to complete the gaps provided. So here they said that whatever the information in table is may be organized differently from the way in which it appears in text. So doesn't mean ki if changes dash resulted in an increase in dash would exactly be written in here in the exact first line. No, there'll be certain changes, and overall you need to solve it in a chronological pattern. For example, chronology, instead of in an order of importance, the task is to complete the gaps. You don't have to look for a lot of ways to confuse yourself. Why is it written like this? Why the dash here and not here? Why two dash are here and one here? Just fill the gaps reading the text. So we obviously know of the strategy. Firstly, read the instruction carefully, right? Secondly, look at the table and especially any headings. Decide which is most useful way to read the table. So either you can first read the table like years or event in Britain, whichever feels feasible to you. In case you need to read it horizontally to answer the question, glance at the other information given in the table to get an idea of what information you'll be searching for when you read, paying special attention to any important keywords present. So they said that if you want to read the table horizontally, like I'm first talking about, for example, I am talking about vertically. So I first read the table year wise. So first 1839, then 1840, then dash year. So obviously after 1840, I would have some other year written here, okay, which we'll read when we'll solve this question. But if you want to read in horizontal way, that is 1839 mein kya hua, that should be written in the text only. That way also it's I won't say use the word recommended, but that's also a way that you can solve it. It depends on how comfortable you are. I actually am comfortable reading this way horizontally, especially in this given year, because I could find these words and directly I could relate these lines to the paragraphs. But for question number 3 and 5, I need to fill this gap and this gap as well. So you could send a message of, so obviously I need to read the line in the paragraph firstly. Okay. Now, thirdly, look at the first rule under the heading. Decide what keywords or ideas you will find to search as you skim the reading text. Decide. Also, what information you need to complete the first gap. Okay. So they said the first rule is to under the heading decide what keywords or ideas you will find. Okay, like events in Britain or the year. So you'll have to basically predict the answer. Fourthly, skip the text for appropriate paragraph or section, and lastly read the section in detail and decide on word or words to fill the gap. So it's not just key you found 1839 here, so you'll read it and then let it go. No, you have to read at least that 2-3 lines carefully, because we are not reading the entire paragraph. So give that kind of commitment that you at least read those 2-3 lines where you have found the keywords. It may be that this line ended here, maybe for example the answer started from the next line, but at least this word helped you find out the line which it should be. So tips is that firstly you should complete the flowchart or diagram or tables that paraphrase sentences from the text. Secondly, you are given a word limit, make sure of that. And thirdly, questions mostly follow the order of the text. And lastly, use keywords to look for your answer. So that is something similar what we have been discussing since, I don't know, previous videos. The paraphrase sentences should be looked for carefully in the text. Secondly, word limit is there, so make sure of that. You can't, even if suppose your answer is stimulated communication, you can't even change one small dot of this thing, you have to write it exactly. If you have changed the word, then no points, because that is what the essence of writing an answer is. Thirdly, question mostly follow the order of the text. So suppose 1839, I'm going to find the answer here. So for 1840, next line, then down the line I'll get all the answers. And lastly, use keywords to look for answer. So we are very familiar with all these rules. It's just that um, it needs to be revised, which is a good thing, so that you know how to solve different types of questions. So let's study the questions first, or the instructions first. The chrono the for This thing says to read the instruction first, highlight anything you find important. So choose no more than two words and or a number. So you can write a number also and two words also. Now here apply some logic, that obviously a number will come because they're asking about year here, so number will be there. Okay, so they said two words and or a number. Now let's read the question. In 1839, in the year 1839, changes to something was changed, and that change actually resulted in an increase in the delivery of mail. So something is related to the delivery of mail, which was changed, and it caused a increased. Now look for paraphrasing as well, because they are not going to serve you answer on the platter. So first of all, I'll try to predict the answer, that there was changes to some kind of method by which delivery of mail is done. That is my prediction, which resulted in a increase. Then in 1840, the beginning of the dash. So there was beginning of something. So events in Britain, it's talking about some event they might be talking in Britain, that it began in the year 1840s. Now in dash year, you could send messages off. So there is a type of message that you could send, or you could send messages off. So they're talking something about send messages. Then in the year dash, only dash for message. Now only word is a major hint for us, because it could be paraphrasing the paragraph, as well as it's a great tip for us, that only this thing for messages to arrive from dash. So only dash for messages to arrive from dash. So there's something, it's kind of like a to from kind of question, like something then dash from something. Now let's read the text. Firstly, 1839. Now in 1839, the word is written here. So as I said, that for you to find proper nouns or numbers in a text, if you get that as your keyword, then it would be the best thing for you. 1839, what does the line says? The spread of railways stimulated communication, and Rowland Hill's standardization of postal charges in 1839 saw a boon in mail services. Now look how cleverly they have disguised the answer. Increase को उन्होंने लिख दिया boon. They paraphrase increases boon. Resulted, they paraphrased as saw. 1839 is already mentioned. Now what was it that was changed? So standardization, in a way they have written that there were some changes made. The change was the standardization of what? Our word limit is two words. Of what? Of postal charges. So my answer is, I'll write my answer here in capital letter, postal charges, because I don't want to risk losing my marks. Now if I write postal charge, would it be correct? No, because the word here says charges, and here also it's saying in plural, changes, a change in, no, it's talking about plural, so postal charges. Then 1840, there was beginning of something. So I'll first search the word for 1840. So the word is here, 1840s. Now let's read what does it says. If rail travel shrank the country, the telegraph crushed it. Okay, it opened in 1840. And soon went stratospheric within 10 years. Exchanging telegrams had become part of everyday life. Okay, but what are they talking about? Now opened, they said here, began, they disguised, or they paraphrased began as opened. So in 1840 something was beginning or something opened, and what was that? So in the next previous line we can finally identify the answer. If rail travel shrank the country, the telegraph crushed it. Okay, let's see a line before that. Okay, if you think the internet is a big thing, just imagine how much bigger it would seem if I had ever seen a computer or telephone. That's what telegraph was to Victorians. If rail travel shrank the country, the telegraph crushed it. It opened in 1840. So they're talking about telegraph. The telegraph crushed it. So my answer here would be, it is the beginning of. Now the word telegraph is the word the is already written. So I'm going to write just the word telegraph. Telegraph, and in capital letters, because I don't want to lose my points writing in small or in small half caps. So it's better to play safe and write it in all caps. The next is, I need to identify an year where you could send messages of. So so by the mid 1860s, by the mid 1860, because it's obviously talking about year, so my hint here that here also it would be a kind of year. So the mid 1860s, London was connected with New York, and by mid 1870s, messages could be exchanged between London and Bombay in minutes. So here we are talking about um, you could send messages of. Okay. Okay, now there is a slight correction here. That in this question, it is written off instead of off. You have to write two. So the answer here would be that in the mid 1870s. So because we have the liberty to write two words and or a number, we can write the word used is all mid 1860s. Fourth is you could send messages to. So in mid 1860s, London was connected with New York. So you could send messages to New York. Fifth is in what year you could only dash for messages to arrive from dash. So in the year 1870s, so mid 1870s, mid 1870s, only dash for messages to arrive from dash. So here the answer is like this. Now word from between London and Bombay in minutes. So only minutes for messages to arrive from Bombay. So this is how you write table completion answers. Okay. Next is flowchart type. If you want to solve other examples for table completion, you can ping me on the comment section, like, share and subscribe to the video so that I could put on more example based on table completion. The thing is, the reading part in itself is so big that let's just solve one examples. If you want to solve more practice question, I'll put it up on my channel. If you are interested, you can comment. So next, moving on to flowchart. This is pretty similar to table completion only. Okay. So this question type should be answered in order as occurs in reading text. So it should be answered in order as occurred in reading text. Different stages, steps and arrows will give you an idea of what is next. To identify the stages, read the text carefully. So it is not a complex type. A very simple side that a flow chart would be given to you and you'll have to complete it by looking at the passage. Strategy is quite similar. Read the instructions carefully. So since it's a flowchart type question, let's write the strategy also in flowchart manner. So read the instruction carefully. Do not exceed the word limit. Read the question. Read the question. Okay, and underline the keywords in the question. Skim and scan the passage. Skim and scan the passage for answers. And so few tips here to be given is, firstly, that number one is that these questions usually are in order of text. So first answer in first para, then second answer in next para. Do not try to make or write complete sentences. So do not write or make complete sentences. Look at the word limit and write accordingly. Thirdly, these questions are comparatively easier than the rest of questions, so it is easier and you will not have any difficulty. So let's look at this example. Firstly, this example is a flowchart type question. Looking at our tricks strategy, first we will read the instruction. So the instruction says, choose no more than 3 words for each answer. So my word limit here is only 3 words. Now look at the questions and underline the keywords. 2 main problems. So here we are talking about some problems. So 2 major issues or problems is my keyword. Now that can be anything. Now heading is basically doll restoration. So obviously problems related to doll restoration. Dash, 2 parts of a doll. 2 parts of a doll, dash and dash. So they are talking about some parts of a doll that is 2 in number, and that will be easier to understand. Dash the head. Okay, removed dash and dash. So these are very vague questions. You cannot actually exactly predict the answer. Made, duplicate, reconditioned, and mechanism. Mohair wig. Now mohair wig is they're talking about something specific. So here you can identify. Here you can scan the text and identify this keyword easily. Dress doll in the authentic dash clothes. So there's talking about a type of clothing in which the doll is dressed. Now let's look at what are the 2 main problems. Okay, so let's try and look at the word problem. 2 main problem. Okay, I've seen this keyword here. So here there are 2 main problems. The eye mechanism has lost its original look and it has a loose head. So the 2 main problems is, I'm going to write down in capital letters here. First answer is eye mechanism, and third is loose head. So this is pretty easy. All you have to do is be attentive, follow the strategy, that is to read instruction, highlight question in words, keywords, skim and scan the text, and you'll find the answers. Now the next is 2 parts of a doll, dash and dash. Let's look for the word 2 parts of a doll, dash and dash. Two parts of a doll, dash 2 parts of a doll. Let's see where we can find it. Okay, now skim the text for this word, as I cannot find 2 parts of them. We separated the head from the composition of body and chemically cleaned the head, removing old dirt and wax, but not harming the original artwork. Okay, so where are they talking about 2 parts of the doll? So they said we removed mohair wig and removed the eye system. So remove two parts of a doll. The answer is removed. Fourth is mohair wig. And fifth is eye system. Okay. Dash the head. Now continuously reading in the next line. Dash the head. Cleaned the head. Answer is cleaned. But here let's look at the whole sentence. Then we separated, because the word limit is more than 3 words. No more than 3 words. We separated the head from composition, body, and chemically cleaned the head. So dash the head. Sixth is chemically cleaned the head. So here you don't need to write the complete sentences. Removed dash and dash. So removed old dirt, wax. So dash and dash. So seventh answer is old dirt and wax. Pretty simple, right? Self-explanatory. No need to explain. Made duplicate something. They duplicate something. We repaired the missing porcelain teeth by making duplicate porcelain teeth to match and reinserted them. So made duplicate porcelain teeth. Porcelain teeth. Then ninth is recondition the dash and mechanism. So what did they recondition? Then we took the original eye system, reconditioned it. So recondition and dash mechanism. We then did the waxing of the eye mechanism and reset the waxing of the eye mechanism and reset the eyeball. So eyeball would open and close as it originally did. So we did dash mechanism. Reconditioned original eye system. So he reconditioned what? Original eye system. Then dash the mohair wig. Where is the word mohair wig written? Dash. After this, chemically cleaned and restyled the original mohair wig. Chemically cleaned and restyled. So because I can use only 3 words, so cleaned and restyled the mohair wig. Then they said, dress the doll in authentic clothes. Dress the doll in authentic clothes. Original period, but here you'll use the word original. Original is paraphrased as authentic, so we'll use the word period clothes. Original period clothes. And here is your answer. So one thing you should observe is that starting from here, every answer was found in the next line itself. Every answer was found. Two main problem was loose head and eye mechanism. Remove the mohair wig. Remove the mohair wig and eye system. Then the answer was clean the head, chemically clean the head. Then remove the old dirt and wax. Made duplicate porcelain teeth. Reconditioned dash and mechanism. So original eye system was reconditioned. Dash the mohair wig, cleaned and restyled the mohair wig, and dress the doll in original period clothing. So you can see that all the answers were line by line. Line by line. Each line, if you read, the answer was there. So this proves the fact that the answers are given in order of text. We do not have to write and make the complete sentences. It is quite easier than other ones. We just need to write it in the no more than 3 words. These instructions needs to be followed.